I'll begin by presenting myself by the chosen name that I have. Because I call myself Ingunn Sigurdsdatter, and that is not the legal name. It's not the name that was created to make a joinder to the state or to bind me to the state. So I've broken the ties to the legal fiction or the legal person which has been created and registered and copyrighted by the state. So the name is my name, and Sigurd, that's my father. And when I chose my name myself, I could feel an energy shifting within my body. It's as if all of my body said thank you, and I felt that there was also an energetic factor to this, not just legal factor. So what we did was, first of all, to renounce the so-called citizenship or any assumption of a social contract with the state. So we handed in the passports, I did, and most of the documentation to the state. And then we have a house, and I have declared the house a sovereign estate, and we've stopped paying the banks. So the reason for that is that when we see the destruction and the pain and the suffering in our societies, when you really delve into this area, you come to realize that all of this has happened for a reason. And you begin to go by the threads and see where do they lead. And then you really see that the banks and the owners of the banks, or those pulling the threads of the banks, are very much to blame. So the setup of our society has to great extent been caused by the banks. So the banks have private owners, and they have been financing our downfall for a long time to force us into contract with them, where the states enter into loan agreements with the banks, and they use us as backing collateral for the loans. So we have been made slaves, really. So the banks are financing much of the suffering we see in the world. When you go to the bank, most people think that, I'll go and then they will give me a loan and then I can buy a house. What really happens is not that. You go to the bank and you have a paper, which is the so-called loan agreement, and you tell the banks, okay, can I have 2 million in loans from you? And the bank said, no, maybe. And they create a new account for you, which is a credit account that has your name in it. And what happens then? Most people think that we get the money from someone's savings or something the bank has, maybe 10%. No, the bank gives us nothing at all. The credit is created only on basis of our birth certificate, which is the real value. So the value in our birth certificate, because we are security, we are slaves, that value is put into the credit account, and then they loan us back. They tell us that they loan us back the credit that we have created. So the banks are in charge of the hugest or the biggest robbery or scam imaginable. And this scam is so crazy that most people cannot even imagine that it can be true. And that is why most people don't believe it when they hear it. So the people say, but if it weren't for that loan, I wouldn't be able to buy a house. What really happens is that through the use of money and law, they have confiscated, the rulers of the world have confiscated our energy. Because if you were to use your working powers and have a house, maybe you'd have to work for 1 year, maybe 2 years, and you'd have a house working with your hands. Now you need to work all of your life, 25 years, to have a house, to be able to live on earth. So that's what we are saying no thank you to. We don't want that. No, we won't pay you anymore because you haven't given us anything. If you say you have given us something, that's not true. So we say to the bank, can you prove to us that you have suffered damages, that you have lost something when we don't pay you? Where is the proof of that? What then happens is that the banks and the government work together, because really the governments are owned by the banks. And then the courts always rule in favor of the banks. So the courts do never work for the people, they always work for the banks. And then the bailiff is due to come to our place. He might be coming in a week or so to say, you need to move out of the house. So what we are doing is that we are taking concrete action to stop this pain and suffering for so many people. Not only in the case of houses, foreclosures, but also in the case of people losing their children to the state punishing you for not paying something, the state punishing lawyers, saying, you cannot work as a lawyer anymore because you have won cases against us, so now we invent something so that you can't work. There are so many transgressions going on in Norway, so we are trying to say no to them, simply. What is for sure is that now all Earth is up for sales, up for grabs. So the world is run as a casino, and the oligarchy that runs the world try to maximize the profit from what they consider their property. So I don't know if there should be property rights, but I know that we the people have to take the earth back because we have a right to live on it. We are born on the earth, and just like the animals, we also have a right to live and to be parents and to have a place to sleep, quite simply. And in today's society, you don't have that right unless you abide by all of the rules that the state put there for you. If you disobey, you don't have a place to stay. So that's the purpose of the things we do. And the cost of obeying the state is that you also participate in the brutality caused by the state. The brutality where they slaughter millions of people in Iraq, Libya, all over the world. The brutality where the Norwegian state at least buys up land in many other countries. They buy the human collateral of other countries. So we, the Norwegian state with our pension fund, buy the energy of our brothers and sisters in other countries. So the destruction caused by the government is my responsibility. So what I do is I say, I'm not a part of that. And I still have the right to be on the earth. I can live here too. And to be able to live here, I don't have to go by that destruction and be part of it. I have no idea what I'll be doing tomorrow, really. But there was a point where I realized that I need to stop doing the things that hurt my soul and the heart. So that's basically what I'm doing. And then many people, they tell me, but imagine if everybody does what you are doing. What would happen to the world then? Everything would be chaos and destruction. And now we have chaos and destruction. And we need to stop that. Because can it be worse? No, it can't. And besides, apart from that, we have been told since childhood that we are born with a sin and blame, and that we are inherently evil. And I think that all people who are parents, everybody who has a child, know that that is not the truth. We are good. We are born basically good, with good intentions. So if you ask me what's going to happen if the bailiff shows up at your house, and what I know is that with the people, I'm right and they are wrong, because everything we have been told isn't true. And the state is the intermediaries of slavery because they have securitized our birth certificate. When you do that, you lose all trust, all right, eventual right, all mandate to rule us. So if they come and tell me, "Oh, we have the right to have jurisdiction over you," I know it is not true. And I also know that the banks are wrong because they are presenting a claim that they cannot back by documentation. So what does the state have that the people don't have? They have the use of force, and they have the use of a lot of people who follow orders. And what I think is, we have two choices. We can bow to the use of force, or we can stand up and say, "No, thank you." And when you stand in peace, and when you refuse to use violence, and when you say that I have a peaceful intention, do you come in peace? That's where we are. We don't know what the result will be, but peaceful non-compliance must be step number one. And I will never live beneath the radar like many people do. That's not going to lead anywhere. I think we need to stand up for our rights and just meet these people. And the people in government, in the police, they are also you and me. They are the brothers and sisters, and they think that they are doing the right thing. They really do not know that they are doing something wrong. So this is a period of transition, and we just have to go by the heart and the protection of the universe, and the knowing that by doing the right thing, that is really all you can do. There was a moment when I woke up and I began to see how the world is put together. And I understood that most of what we are told is lies. It really isn't true. So there is a point when you begin to see through the illusions. And I do see that this can be hard because my family and my friends sometimes feel uncomfortable with me, and they kind of cringe. Don't talk to me about these things. But it's the way of the world, and we have to forgive each other and just be patient and give each other space and slack, because there is love anyway. And it may seem that we are opposing forces and they're living in the matrix, I'm not. So there is a difference, but there isn't really. So in Norway, I have had some attention, and many people know who I am. I've had all kinds of reactions. And especially, you get a good slandering from the state when you step out of line. And when you do something that goes against the state-authorized agenda, they come immediately to slap you by pulling you down, your reputation down, tagging you with all kinds of names like anti-Semite and whatnot. And they use a good deal of money actually to establish this propaganda that is used as measure to counter the things we say. But that's the way of the world. And that's just another reason for keep doing the things we do.